Welcome to another episode of Once a Warrior. My name is Monty Bethem and we are off to the Gold Coast for my guest, Michael Witt. Thanks for your time, Witty.
Thanks for having me, guys.
How are you, man?
Going fantastic, thanks. Yeah, all's going well over here in the Gold Coast.
Of course it's going well. Look at the place you've got in terms of location. What are you doing for work, man?
Well, I sell real estate here in the Gold Coast. I've sort of been doing that for about 7 years now. So after footy, I did a bit of property investment when I was playing, and it was sort of a natural progression for me to head into the real estate space.
Well, Witty, time to take a look at what you could do in that jumper.
The close range, giving it to Michael Witt. Right back up, Witt for a double, you betcha! Just about unkickable given the breeze we have. I tell you what, you won't see better than that.
Michael Witt with a chip, with the bounce, with the chase, with the score.
Witt is chasing it. That was brilliant. Witt for the corner. He gets there. It looks pretty. It looks real good. He has got the golden boots. Michael Witt.
He gets the ball to Michael Witt. Michael Witt is going to score. What's he doing? Ball down. Put the ball down, son.
Witty, when you watch that back, man, what sort of feels do you get?
Yeah, amazing. I look back at my time at the Warriors very fondly. I love it to see those crowds and things that we used to have at Mount Smart. It takes me to today when the boys are winning and they're getting all that support. Yeah, super great memory.
Witty, two clubs, I think it was Parramatta and Manly before you come to the Warriors. Why the Warriors and how the Warriors?
Why the Warriors? Well, it got to a point when I was at Manly, I was sort of in and out of first grade. An option come up to play at the Warriors. I actually called Steve Price because Steve Price coached me when I was 8 years old. So, I'd always looked at Steve Price as a superstar. We're from the same city of Toowoomba. Price went to the same school as me. He played at the same football club as me. And he progressed into making it into the big time. And so I looked at guys like that and just thought, well, they did it, so I can do it. So I asked him about the Warriors, and he just raved, waxed lyrical about how good a club it was. So basically after I heard that, I was like, yep, sweet, I'm going. Me and my wife just got married and then relocated. And Wade McKinnon was moving over and just signed at the same time. And I played with Wade at Parramatta, so I had some faces there that I knew. I actually lived with Wade when I first moved over for the first few weeks, which is a very interesting time.
Talk to me about your relationship with him and Wade, the player, versus Wade, the man off the field.
Yeah, Wade the player was just the ultimate competitor. He wanted to win everything. He was skillful. He was aggressive. He was selfless because he supported everybody. He'd always turn up in the right place at the right time. Off the field, he's a character. He enjoyed himself. Basically, what you see is what you get with Wade, and he treats you, whether you're the CEO or the janitor, the same. He has a great time. He doesn't try to hide that, but he's certainly a player that you love playing with, and one of the boys just sort of wind up and just sit back in the corner and watch him go.
Witty, when you went over, what was the expectation on yourself? You wanted a chance, you wanted to play regular, that's what you said. What did you have in mind when you crossed that ditch?
My first contract at the Warriors was 1 year deal. So I just basically went all in. I decided that if this was going to be my last year, I want to make sure I'm going out and doing everything right. So I worked my backside off. I remember it was a really tough preseason. And I just wanted to make sure that I did everything I could to get in the team. I was lucky enough round one that I was starting at 5'8", and I remember thinking that I was coming to a great forward pack led by Pricey, Ruben Wiki, young guys like Ivan Tumavavi were there that had that brilliance. Nathan Feen was there, who I'd dealt with in sort of State of Origin camps previous. I knew that there was Michael Luck there, who I'd known since I was a kid. He was from Gatton, so only half an hour from where I live, so I knew Lucky well. I knew there was good people there. I knew that I was going to have a pack to get me forward, and hopefully, well, for any half, that's what you want, and hopefully that gives you a platform to play off the back of, and they certainly did that for me.
What can you tell me about the week of your debut, memories of the game?
Yeah, I was just super excited to get there. I remember our pre-season, we did a lot of prep around Parramatta and game one. So we knew that we were firing. Just the thing that I wasn't ready for is running out that tunnel, as you know, Mons, from the backfield, running through the tunnel. You've got the drums playing, I was just like, wow. Like you really run out and you kind of do feel invincible. And obviously running out beside guys, they're the ones that make you feel good. But man, it was experience that I was like, I need to rip in here because I want more of this.
You guys finished fourth that year on the ladder, top four home semis. But in terms of your opinion, what did that success come down to in 2007? You know, it had been some time since the boys had made the playoffs. 2003 was the last time.
Yeah, I think there's a number of factors. I think Ivan Cleary had a big deal to do with that. Obviously, what Ivan's gone on to do since then shows that he's an amazing coach. We had a great bunch of guys who all wanted to work hard for each other. There was no, how do I call it, no clowns. We had no clowns in the team. Everyone was good blokes. Everybody got on and off the field. And, you know, if you can do that, you're 9/10 of the way there if everybody's good mates want to work hard. And then obviously you've got guys in the team that just had that individual brilliance. So you've just got to hold on for long enough and they'll come up with something.
And normally you don't have clowns because you've got some sheriffs or some people that sort of keep everyone under control. Who was that for this side that year, you reckon?
Ruben was the man. Ruben was the guy that everybody looked up to, certainly the younger Polynesian guys. To play against him, super scary. But to deal with him, as you know, off the field, he's a big teddy bear. He wants to hug you and look after you. And just that creates a family environment. And I think that, that breeds success because everybody wants to not let each other down. I remember the first contact session we did against each other. He just smashed me. And I was like, are you serious? You're on my team. But the more and more we did it, that's how Rubes trained every day. So you couldn't it wasn't as though you got cranky because he tried to whack you. That's just how he did. And he forced everybody else to train the same way.
Mate, when you're talking about the success of 2007, everyone goes top four finish straight away, but they forget about the 5 losses in a row, I think from round 8. What was done to put a stop to the rut? Because I know what it's like when you're walking on eggshells or when you need to get a result and it's just not coming, man.
I remember we did a video session that Ivan put us in. And rather than get up us for what we were doing wrong or errors we'd make, he just showed us clips of videos where we just missed an opportunity by a bees, you know, like just one little pass or just a tiny drop or the opportunity. We created the opportunity, but we just didn't ice the moment. And basically what he was trying to say is this is how close we are to clicking and putting it all together. And I think that kind of took the shackles off us a little bit, relaxed everybody to know that we are a good team. We are playing some good footy and it will fall into place. We went to Shark Park. We played the Sharks there on a horrible Saturday night. It was raining. It was, puddles all over the field. And we just scratched and clawed and got ourselves a win. And that's where we started to build off the back of that. So, I remember that vividly, Ives video before that.
You're always a very impressive kicker. When you're talking about that night, I'm sure you remember it now. I mean, it's sort of iconic in terms of the goal kicks in the elements. You know the one I'm talking about, from the sideline.
I remember thinking, I've just got to, the wind's so heavy, so I've not got to worry about the wind. I've just got to pick a spot and kick it straight at that. And that spot that I was kicking at was probably 15 metres to the left of the post. So usually for a right foot kicker, it bends a little bit from right to left. I kicked kind of straight, so I knew I had to just put it outside the left upright by about 15 metres and close my eyes and hope. I think the commentator sort of pumps it up for me because he sort of says, Michael Witt, the wind's blowing. There's no chance of kicking this. So that kind of adds to a bit of the story.
I scored a few tries, not as many as you and others, but I know what it's like in terms of the elation, the emotion it gives you there and then. What's it like when you kick goals? How far down the scale does it compare?
I felt it was an honour. I felt privileged that I was the one that got to try and turn those 4 points into 6. And I was meticulous in my preparation. Obviously, when it gets to big games, it can get a bit stressful, but that's what you train for. And I guess knowing that I'd done the work through the week, I was confident every time I put the ball on the tee. And, as soon as a try was scored, I'd try and get in there as quick as I could, pat the bloke on the back and get that ball and then make it mine. There's some great moments where to be able to kick from the sideline to win a game or put us in front, it's exciting. And obviously, in a selfish way, thinking about it now when you ask me, is when you snap one from the sideline, the crowd erupts. It's awesome.
You mentioned Ivan, he's a great coach. So what sort of coach was he? And did it make a difference to you that he was also a goal kicker, being what you did very well?
Yeah, I was a great coach. He's probably the best coach I ever played under. Obviously, what he's doing now, I think, probably shows everybody that. But he was a great coach. Wasn't too over the top. He knew the players to push, and he knew the ones to wrap an arm around. In terms of goal kicking, I guess it was always nice having him there. He didn't really do any of the coaching with me. We used to get Darryl Halligan in because obviously he had so much on his plate. But just knowing that he appreciated the work that I was doing because he'd done it all before. He knew how hard goal kickers had to work. It was always nice to, I guess, feel appreciated. I was hitting them well at that time too. So I remember him getting up at me one day because I think I kicked a certain amount in a row that beat one of his amount of row he kicked at the Warriors. So he was a bit cranky about that. But, he was always a good supporter. He was a fantastic coach.
That year as well, your first year in those Warriors colours, what were the memorable games for you, man?
A game against the Bunnies at the Sydney Football Stadium. We were getting beaten pretty well by the Bunnies, and I'll never forget they went up to their corporate box, and Russell Crowe had just bought the club. Wade McKinnon scored an amazing try, pretty much went the length of the field, and then right on the death, we put a kick through for Skinny Burns, the flying Skinny Burns down the outside. And
we don't kick the ball; it's an individual that kicks the ball, and that was you, my man. You're a humble guy, are you?
Oh, no, I try to claim everything I can get. I didn't do it too often. So just one of those ones where I caught the ball and I didn't have a chance to think because Skinny Burn was just flying down the sideline and pointing to the in goal. So I just kicked it and it ended up in the right spot. And Skinny wasn't the fastest bloke, but I tell you what, he was flying that day.
The two final games that year, I mean, probably not the two best games for the club when you've produced so much, but just your memories of it and that whole experience because, I mean, it's a special time when you make the playoffs.
Yeah, it was. It was a special time, and to finish in the top four, I think, was a big tick for the Warriors who hadn't played finals for a little while. That first semi-final game, we played Parramatta at Mount Smart, and that was the first blackout I ever played in front of, so that was unreal. I think that was a game that we should have won. We probably missed a couple of opportunities right at the end to ice the match. If we would have won that, who knows, but... that's probably the things that remind me of that big game, yeah.
Grant Ravelli. Now, he had a lot of good things to say about you. He said you're a meticulous trainer, you're a wonderful house partner, so now it's your turn to talk about him, mate. So the pressure's on, Woody.
Well, it's not pressure because it's very easy to talk about Ravsy. He's a legend, a wonderful bloke, wonderful player. He had sheer pace, and some of the tries that he scored there at the Warriors where he just support, beat the fullback, all ends up. He had great footwork, good kicking game, and he was a real team man. I think if you look at the second year, he played a lot of that year off the bench, and not once did he ever question or did he not train as hard. He was a team first man, and those are the guys that you turn up and you want to play with. But yeah, fantastic athlete, and probably a guy that didn't get enough credit for what he did.
That run into the final series in 2008, talk to me about what was going through your mind, what got you up, and just any memorable games, really, that you thought were the difference.
Yeah, again, we went through a tough period where we lost, I think, probably 6 or 7 in a row. I can't remember the exact figure, but we worked and kept working, and then we got ourselves a few wins, and we were flying with momentum coming into the semis to scrape into the top 8. Everybody wrote us off. We were just getting there to make up the numbers, and we felt really confident in the game we had and the momentum we had, and it showed when we got the semi-final time. We did some great things, but there's a number of games that you can sort of think of that we sort of delivered in. The guy I think of that year too is Michael Luck, what he did. Lucky again, he's a mirror image of Campo, who you played with. He's just that guy that you just love having in your team because he's so selfless. You do all those little things that you need. Didn't get a lot of the fanfare, but if you spoke to any of the guys that played in and around those years with Lucky there, he'd be the first bloke picked every week.
When you have milestones or achievements for the first time in a history of an entire competition, it's pretty huge. We're talking about the McIntyre system, 1v8, Melbourne Storm versus the Warriors. You didn't read the script, man.
No, it's really funny actually because we were quite confident going down there. We'd always had good battles with Melbourne. I remember all through the media and guys at Ivan and Walks, who was our trainer, they leveraged off that a bit. We were just there to make up the numbers, and we weren't going to do anything. But one thing we were very conscious of is teams getting beat by the Storm before they even turn up to Melbourne. Their old ground there, Olympic Park, was always was hard for teams to go and play at. But I think guys turned up and thought, the teams turned up rather and were beaten before they got there, just because you looked at the superstars in the other team. But we were confident we could do it. I remember arriving in Melbourne, and I remember picking up the paper, and on the back page it had Greg Inglis saying, "I'm going to be the man of the match today." And of course, I thought, okay, I can use this. So I cut the back page off and I stuck it on our team board. And I went into lunch early and I just watched all the big guys walk in, all our middles, and they sort of just looked at it quickly, and then I could see it sort of just get them a little bit. And I was like, yes, this is working. This is working. So the boys are pumped up, but we made a conscious effort not to be bullied, because that's what they did down there in Melbourne, even to the point where we run on the field first and they make you wait. They always make you wait. And then they run out through the big AFL banner. So we decided that we were going to stand in a line right in front of them. So as soon as they run through that banner and busted, they were going to see us all there. An intimidating bunch. Not that I was intimidating, but I remember Ryan Hoffman particularly running through, who obviously ended up at the Warriors. But I remember him running through and busting through that banner and just looking up and catching his eye like, oh, geez, what's going on here? And our boys were ready, angry, aggressive, and basically we just set the scene that we weren't going to get bullied. And obviously it took us right to the death, but we challenged them.
Everyone sees the end of the play. They don't see what made the play. And Jerome Road Party, individual brilliance, coming down that left was just outstanding. Was that a call that you guys made? Was that just some sort of brilliance that he individually came up with?
Yeah, I get asked about this try all the time, and I always make sure to draw everybody's attention to what Jerome did. We did that a lot during the year. I moved over to the left-hand side of the field, and I just used to try and give him a long ball and let him do his thing, get him one-on-one with his centre. We'd had success through it through the year, so I just wanted to get him early ball as we'd done before. And obviously he put a bit of a clinic on. He got past, I think it was Israel Folau. He made the break to hit Manu, but without what Jerome did, he's the guy that created that whole play.
Mm-hmm. How often do people ask you, what were you thinking, bro, when you had that up above your head? I mean, wonderful. I mean, Woody, when you watch that back, do you think, whoa, does your heart drop at all?
Yeah, a little bit, because to be totally honest, I didn't realise that I held the ball up. My whole idea was, once I made that break, I could see Blairy chasing me, and I knew he was there, and I knew he was coming so hard that he'd keep running through. So my whole idea was to stop, stand in the corner and not put the ball down, because I think there was probably 2 minutes to go. So I didn't want to put the ball down. I wanted to stand there for as long as I could. Obviously, stupidly of me to not think that Cameron Smith would be chasing the ultimate professional. So as I turned around and saw him, I obviously threw it down pretty quick, but I didn't realise till I saw it in the video, that I actually sort of put the ball up. But I always like to think there was plenty of time in that.
Mate, what was actually said to you after the game? Did Ivan say anything after you when you held that ball up there for what seemed like an eternity, brother?
Yeah, the first bloke who came to me was Pricey, and staunch Pricey. He's like, "What are you doing? Don't do that again." And then Ivan did come down to me, and he was sweet. He actually thought, when he saw me turn around, he said he got a fright because he looked back and thought they'd called the play back and something went wrong. Obviously, it's one of those things. I got the ball down, we scored, we win. It's great. If I didn't, I'd probably still be living somewhere in Bali, just with tattoos, so no one knew who I was.
You got to enjoy another home semi, and it was another blackout, and it was against the Roosters. I mean, that's the one that I remember, and I've sort of got chills there. What did it feel like to run through that tunnel, to be involved in that game, and what's your memories of it? That's
my favourite game I've ever played, is that game. But the first thing that I remember is when we flew back, we went back to the stadium, and there was a temporary grandstand built at the end of the field. And we were like, whoa, that's... They wanted, obviously, a bigger crowd. But I remember seeing Wayne Scarra, who was the CEO at the time, and went, when did that go up? He goes, I started that through the week. He said, I was confident we were going to win, and I knew we'd pack out. And I was just like, wow. Like, that's amazing. Like, the boys were shocked by that someone at the club had the foresight and the confidence in us to go and do that. And then when the media started about the blackout, there's no way we would have lost that game. We would have beat anyone that day. And as I say, we spoke about before, running out the tunnel, blacked out, packed crowd, going nuts. It's unbelievable. I think I even heard Tatey talk about it. Now Tatey's played Origin games, grand finals, test matches, and that's one of the games that he's first comes to his mind. So yeah, it was a special day, and one that will go down in Warriors history, and one that I'll never forget.
Did you have a third year on the cards, or was it just an extra year added on to your first year?
Yeah, no, halfway through my first year, I re-signed at the club for another 2 years, I think. It was certainly never the plan to leave. I had another year running on my contract. Loved the place, loved the club, loved the people there. So it was never, ever my intention to leave. So I remember speaking to my agent to go to England, to Hull FC. And I didn't want to go. I loved the Warriors. And he said that the Warriors don't want you to go. They want to keep you. I was like, awesome. That's what I want to. Obviously, over the next couple of weeks, we beat the Storm, we beat the Roosters, and then we got beat by Manly. Basically after that game, you have your exit meetings. And in that exit meeting, I was basically told that I would never play, that I should move on. And I said, "Oh, look, I don't want to move on. I'll do everything I can, and I'll prove to you that I can still be the 5'8" here." I was told in no uncertain terms that I'd never play for the Warriors again. Doesn't matter how well I trained. They decided to go down a different path. They were signing Joel Moon to play 6. And look, at the time, I was super upset, of course, but in hindsight, you get a bit older, you understand that that's professional sport. And when the coach makes a decision, you've just got to sort of roll with the punches. And I wasn't the only one. Myself, Grant Ravelli, Nathan Feen were all sort of moved on, which is a bit of a shame. But, look, it is what it is, right? That's professional sport.
Woody, how would you sum up your 2 years there? An impressive 2 years. Finals each time and full stadiums on top of it all.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best 2 years of my career at the Warriors. I loved it. I loved the place. Never wanted to leave, and I enjoyed every minute of it. But the fans at the Warriors were the best, bar none. There's a lot of Kiwis here on the Gold Coast as well, so I cross a lot of paths with them, just walking through the shops. And yeah, it's always good to give back, and they're great people, and I love being able to speak to them about things that happen over at the Warriors. I look at the Warriors boys now, and when I see them play at home and they run out in front of that Mount Smart Stadium that's just packed, I know the feeling they're getting, and I know how excited they'll be, and I know how much energy that gives you as a player. So it's super exciting to see the boys have success and play in front of that. Long may it continue.
Woody, once a Warrior, always a Warrior, man. I thank you for your service, your numbers, your legacy that you leave was one to always be admired, man.
Thank you very much, mate.
I'm Monty Bethem. Join me next week for another episode of Once a Warrior.
The close range, giving it to Michael Witt. Right backer, Witt for a double, you betcha! Just about unkickable given the breeze we have. I tell you what, you won't see better than that.
Michael Witt with a chip, with the bounce, with the chase, with the score.
Witt is chasing it. That was brilliant. Witt for the corner. He gets there. It looks pretty. It looks real good. He has got the golden boots. Michael Witt.